Well, week 4 of the 2023 NFL season is in the books, and man, did we get a second straight week of the fuglies. Yes, it was freaking ugly this week yet again. Second straight week of that. But nonetheless, we have to take a look back at the week that was week 4 of this 2023 NFL season. So we kick things off with Thursday Night Football, only for that Jeff Bezos money on Prime Video, as the Lions jumped out to a big 27-3 lead at halftime, but the Packers managed to storm back and cut that lead down to 27-17 by the fourth quarter. But the Lions shut down the rivals' comeback for good, with David Montgomery, the running back's third touchdown of the evening, to beat the Packers 34-20. Starting with the Sunday slate of games as well, going to the early morning portion where you had to wake up at early ass o'clock and sign up for ESPN Plus or Disney Plus, wherever you wanted to watch that game. But anyway, Darius Williams' pick 6 was the highlight of the struggles of Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons offense as the Jaguars dismantled them in Andy's room. Yes, I said that right. Andy's room on Toy Story Fun Day, Football Sunday, whatever you want to call it, as the Jaguars beat the Falcons 23-7 in London, mate, in the early morning Sunday. And then the Bills shut down any indication of a shootout from happening late in the second quarter, as they took control the rest of the way and cooled down Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins in the second half, with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs laying it on them with 3 touchdowns, as the Bills laid the hammer on them 48-20. Kirk Cousins shook off a very bad 99-yard pick 6 to throw 2 touchdowns to Justin Jefferson, and they got a scoop and score touchdown as well on the defensive end, as Minnesota took down the Carolina Panthers 21-13. Justin Fields and the Bears were torching the Denver defense for most of the game in Chicago, as they ran the score 28-7. But of course, Bears football prevailed yet again, as that lead would quickly evaporate in the fourth quarter, as the Broncos crawled their way back to tie it up and eventually take control of that game with 24 unanswered points, as the Denver Broncos took down the Chicago Bears 31-28 in a comeback. With Deshaun Watson out with an injury, a shoulder injury specifically, the presumed preseason favorite Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the backup, was given a regular season welcome by the Ravens defense, as Lamar Jackson torched the Browns' own supposedly strong defense for 4 combined touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing, to beat the Browns 28-3. CJ Stroud had another good performance as he sliced through the Steelers' tough defense, throwing for 2 touchdowns and making very smart decisions with the football once again, as the Texans blew out the Steelers 30-6 in an upset win. The LA Rams dominated and jumped to a 23-0 lead over the Colts by the third quarter, but Anthony Richardson and the Indy offense rallied back in the fourth quarter to force overtime, where their comeback fell just a bit short, where Matthew Stafford connected with Puka Nacua in overtime to beat the Colts 29-23 in favor of the Rams. Baker Mayfield's 3 touchdown game helped the Bucs bounce back from a rainy Week 3 reality check by the Philadelphia Eagles and get a runaway win over the beat-up Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints 26-9. The Commanders coughed up a 17-7 lead over Philadelphia in the fourth, but they managed to force an extra period of football on the very last touchdown from Sam Howell to Terry McLaurin, but it just simply wasn't enough, as there was some ref ball played in the extra period, and nonetheless, Eagles kicker Jake Elliott notched the game-winning field goal on the opposite end, as the Philadelphia Eagles came storming back, I guess, to beat the Washington Commanders 34-31 in overtime. The Titans played bully ball on Cincinnati as they relentlessly sacked and smashed a clearly immobile Joe Burrow, while Ryan Tannehill and company burned the Cincy defense to rack up the scoreboard, specifically Derrick Henry, mind you, and Ryan Tannehill, as the Tennessee Titans beat the Bengals 27-3. Going to the afternoon slate of games, Khalil Mack sacked Aiden O'Connell, starting in place of the concussed Jimmy Garoppolo. He got sacked 6 times by the Mack train. However, that didn't stop the Clippers from nearly clippering away yet another game, nearly, But corner Asante Samuel Jr. said enough with this bull crap and stopped a furious Raiders comeback with a goal line interception as the Chargers held off the Raiders 24-17, mind you. The Dallas defense bullied Mac Jones and the Patriots, getting 2 touchdowns off the Patriots quarterback and shutting down their former ally running back Ezekiel Elliott as the Cowboys beat the Pats 38-3. Arizona's scrappy offense battled back from a 21-10 halftime deficit to cut it down to 21-16 midway into the third. But the 49ers' near perfect offense, who had a pretty good day, responded in kind. Brock Purdy had some big play throws to Brandon Ayuk and set up pretty often Christian McCaffrey for his 3rd rushing touchdown and essentially sealed the game by midway through the 4th quarter, 35-16. The 49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals. And then the Sunday Night Football game of week number 4, the Jets rallied from an early 17-0 hole with a spirited defense getting after Patrick Mahomes very often, and Zach Wilson playing perhaps his best game ever to tie it up at 20 in the 3rd. But that's all Gang Green can muster, as Wilson fumbled a snap in the 4th and never got it back, as the Chiefs held serve 23-20. And then in the Monday Night Football game, the first one that made me say, wow, I guess I'm going to watch Monday Night Raw this week. The Seahawks defense sacked Daniel Jones a crushing 11 times as Devin Witherspoon put the cherry on top over this dominating win over the Big Blue Giants with a pick 6 as the Seahawks beat the Giants 24-3. Yeah, that Monday night game said, wow, okay, fuck this game. I'm going to watch Monday Night Raw. Let's see what's happening because, well, it is in San Jose. And I was just like, yeah, even though I didn't go to it this year. So it's just like, whatever. Okay, let's check it out. So that was your week 4 2023 game slate for the NFL this past week. Let me know your thoughts on what did you think about these games? What were your takeaways from it in the comments below? Well, now let's move on to my 2 winners and losers of week 4. Starting with my winners of this week, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, there's some things I could say about Josh Allen and the offense once again, and how efficient they were. Like, you know, how Josh Allen was pretty precise, and so was Stephon Diggs. But I think the story of that game against Miami was their defense. From mid-second quarter onwards, they didn't allow Tua in the Dolphins offense to score anywhere past 20. We thought we were going to get into shootout territory, but Tua and the offense were pretty much throwing turnovers. They were getting forced into throwing turnovers to that Buffalo defense. And that Bills defense stopped them from scoring on downs, I think near the 4th quarter, to prevent them from changing the momentum in their favor. That happened quite often in that game. Unfortunately for the Bills, though, they did lose corner Tre'davious White to a season-ending Achilles tear. So that's the only dark cloud in this win over Miami. So now they have to find who could step up in his place. So that's the only major question mark going into the next game. So nonetheless, a big win for Buffalo coming out of week 4, but at a high cost though. And then my other winner is my San Francisco 49er offense. For the first month, Brock Purdy has shown tons of poise and coolness, controlling the Niners offense, pretty much calming some of the doubts that I had and many others. There were a couple throws here and there where they weren't so nice, but he shook them off. He plays smarts and he bounces back from the bad throws, and he knows where each play is. But it's also where the rest of the offense lies, which has honestly really yet to reach its full potential. I mean, sure, we already know and see how Christian McCaffrey is. He's back to pretty much being that dominant two-way back in the running game and in the receiving game. But it's also where, you also see Brandon Ayuk being Brock Purdy's go-to receiver in the offense. And this is all without seeing how Kyle Shanahan's going to try to fully utilize and try to get Brock Purdy to also fully target both Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. So we're only a month into this thing, and the potential of this Niners offense has truly yet to be realized. So buckle up, people. This could be really interesting for them. Now looking at my 2 losers for this week, the Green Bay Packers. Perhaps some of us were too quick to react on Jordan Love's comeback win over the Saints because, Yeah, he and the Packers gave an absolute dud just a couple days later against the Lions. I mean, he did not make good decisions with the ball. He took like too many sacks where guys were like wide open in the field. He also didn't just simply throw away the ball when pressure was in his face. Yeah, not really a good performance for Jordan Love. And the Packers, before that their quarter rally of sorts, they weren't even close to 10 yards of total offense. Like, not even close. Sure, there were sparks of hope in the third quarter, but there were one too many self-inflicted wounds for Green Bay to truly get a comeback going. So it's still early for the Packers, but they can't afford to have those kind of mistakes. Hope if they have any hope to try to stay in this NFC North race with the Lions, who now have an edge over them, they can't afford to have those kind of games any longer. And then the New York Giants. After what you saw on Monday night, actually the 2 or 3 primetime games that you had now with the New York Giants experience, it's clear to say that they made one of the biggest mistakes of the offseason by giving Daniel Jones a big fat contract extension. And now it's clear that they're paying the price for it. I mean, sure, it's not a big crap ton of money like Joe Burrow money or Lamar Jackson money or Jalen Hurts money, but it's clear that they need to invest in much better resources in that offense to give them some more help. And now they're also paying the price for that. And I'll get to it in just a bit. Daniel Jones is not the sole reason for why the Giants are 1-3 right now, but he's not doing a whole lot of things to at least make them competitive. Like, sure, he has a crappy pocket around him. He has a crappy offensive line blocking for him. But, there are at least a few quarterbacks that can try to get around that. Very few, though, that can try to do that. But not all of them can. So, other than Daniel Jones, there are a crap ton of quarterback problems, like non-quarterback problems in Big Blue right now that they have. The offensive line, like I said, can't protect Daniel Jones. Saquon is out for however long again, and the defense can't tackle. It's like they can't stop the opposing offense. So as a result, 3 of their first 4 games have been complete wipeouts in favor of the opponent. And even though there's still tons of season left for the New York Giants, there doesn't seem to be much of a fix for them. And it looks like it's going to be one of those kinds of seasons for the Big Blue side of New York. So here's my one takeaway from week 4 in this 2023 season as we head towards week 5. And that has to concern with Joe Burrow and in general, I guess not really in general, but it sheds a light on some of these quarterback injuries that have happened in this past week. But more certainly on Joe Burrow, because looking at the Cincinnati Bengals right now, it's clear and evident that I really think in my opinion that they have to sit him. They really have to sit him because he's just not performing up to his standards, and certainly not up to the standards of the big fat contract extension that he got in the offseason, that he signed just days before the season started. So the problem is that if you sit him, then you're gonna be stuck well behind that AFC North division race, which let's be honest, that they're already well behind in. But nonetheless, it's like you either run the risk of hurting him even more, and then you also run the risk of falling behind in the division race. So Cincinnati's in a pretty interesting dilemma of what they have to do with Joe Burrow. But in my opinion, I would play the long game with Joe Burrow. You gotta sit him. You gotta at least keep him healthy. Try to let him heal up, man. I'm not sure when their bye week is, but at some point you have to consider like sitting Joe Burrow for a game or two to at least get that calf healed up. So I don't like if for a Bengal fan out there. I mean, I'm just a casual fan, like looking on the outside. I like to know your thoughts on this takeaway, this situation. Like, what do you do with Joe Burrow? He clearly can't move around the pocket. He can't run outside because it dampers his calf even more. Like not significantly like right away, but progressively. It's an interesting situation to keep track of if the Bengals keep playing him out there. So I'm a little concerned for Joe Burrow and the Bengals right there. So yeah, that is week 4 of the 2023 NFL season. That was the week that was, and I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below. The games that you liked or disliked this week. It was kind of another downer week in this NFL season. Hopefully week 5 is a good one, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this week in the comments below, and I'd like to know what you like or disliked about it, and let's start a discussion about it. So anyway, this is DylanLasagna signing out of another weekly NFL recap, and until next time, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your filthy casual takes on the world of sports, and peace out.